Welcome back to the Lightning Bolt Chronicles. Thank you for rejoining us here for Chronicle 1-3. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's me, Christina McCrary on Facebook, aka The Black Mirror, aka Captain Consistent, aka The Mom Friend, aka Xtina McCrazy on TikTok and Instagram, host of McCrazy's Place podcast on YouTube, and it has an IG and a Facebook. Co-host of Thursday Night Live on the Sarcarrogance Media Group YouTube page, as well as my YouTube page, both Facebooks and the PGC Chronicles YouTube and Facebook page, and co-host of this wonderful, wonderful magic-making moment, the Lightning Bolt Chronicles, which plays on YouTube, Spotify, our website, www.thelightningboltchronicles.com, and which has an Instagram, a TikTok, and a Facebook. And my co-host, would you please introduce yourself?
Hey, magical friends. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Erica. I represent Hufflepuff. And you can find me at PoodleNoodle82 on Instagram. Or, try to find me somewhere else. Woohoo!
Try to find me somewhere else.
Try to find me.
You can also find her here at the Lightning Bolt Chronicles or on our website,
yeah,
thelightningboltchronicles.com.
There you go.
All right. Chapter 3, The Letters from No One. Please give the people a summary.
All right. So basically we don't have any new characters. We're just playing with all the characters that we've spoken to or heard of in the past. Yeah, I mean mentions here and there.
Names of the rest of Dudley's gang.
Mentions here and there. So we've got basically what we're talking about here is that Dudley and Harry, for the very first time, are going to different schools. Harry feels a sigh of relief finally to have a little bit of space from everyone, really, from Dudley, from his gang, from the family, to be able to be like separated, have his own time. Dudley is going to a school called Smeltings, which his dad went to, so he's kind of legacy. And Harry is going to Stonewall High, which is the local public school. And at this point, Dudley gets a new uniform because his school is private, and Harry gets new clothes to wear as well. And something really interesting happens in that a letter comes for Harry. In, this many years, he has never had any contact with anyone else. And a letter comes, and this throws the entire Dursley household into chaos. And Vernon quite literally loses all of his marbles. Like, they just go all over the place. Aunt Petunia is scared out of her mind. Dudley throws all kinds of fits because he ends up having to lose his second bedroom. And then we have a countdown to Harry's birthday. Mm-hmm. That is, in a nutshell, what we've got going on here.
Okay. So that's what happened. Here are a couple of things I highlighted to point out how these things go down here. Okay?
Yes.
So the first thing I highlighted was Piers, Dennis, Malcolm, and Gordon were all big and stupid. But as Dudley was the biggest and stupidest of the lot, he was the leader. So that's how we learn the names of Dudley's gang.
Yeah.
Then, when the letter comes and Vernon snatches it from Harry before he can read it, Dudley wasn't used to being ignored. He gave his father a sharp tap on the head with his smelting stick. "I want to read that letter," he said loudly. I want to read it, said Harry furiously, as it's mine. It's just the entitlement, right? Just the entitlement.
Yep.
And then
okay.
when Harry gets his bedroom, the second bedroom, he throws a massive fit. He's crying, he's screaming, he does all this. So then it says, the next morning at breakfast, everyone was rather quiet. Dudley was in shock. He'd screamed, whacked his father with his smelting stick, been sick on purpose, kicked his mother, and thrown his tortoise through the greenhouse roof. And he still didn't have his room back.
How did you make yourself sick on purpose?
Dude. I'm sorry, I was horrified by him throwing his tortoise through the greenhouse.
I know. Well, considering the way that he treats all of his toys and everything, no. Like what I actually ended up writing down here or making a note of is that the beginning of the chapter says that the escape of the Brazilian boa constrictor earned Harry his longest ever punishment, and he didn't even do anything, right? And Dudley had in a sense, Dudley had already broken his new video camera, crashed his remote control airplane, and first time out on his racing bike, knocked down old Mrs. Fig as she crossed the street.
On her crutches.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He had a broken leg and was hobbling on crutches, and this with his racing bike.
He doesn't care. Tortoise, life, no life. He doesn't care.
My bad.
Yeah, he doesn't care. I have to say that one of my favorite things is Uncle Vernon losing his everything.
Literally, in my reactions and thoughts, I wrote down 3 things. It says they treat Harry like an animal.
Yeah.
It says Dudley sucks, and it says Uncle Vernon's gone mad.
Yeah. I mean, okay. He's trying, like, I don't understand this logic. He's trying to board up all the holes that any letters can come in through, right? He's just like boarding up the mail slot, boarding up the cracks in the door. How are you going to get out of the house? Right? And then,
in the house. It said that.
First, he uses the hammer. Do you remember what he uses to try to pound the nail in?
The piece of fruitcake that Aunt Petunia gave him while he was working there.
That's how, like, out of his mind he had become, where to the point where he just could not reason, and he was literally trying to pound in a nail with fruitcake.
And that whole part, him going mad and like his behavior as it ramps up over the days and all that, that is seriously one of the missteps they took with the movie. Because in the movie, it's a very small little piece of it, but the way they describe it in the book is hilarious, and it would have been a great movie scene. This fool making sharp left turns and going back the way he came for a while. Shake him off. He thinks they're being followed. He stops in the middle of the forest, gets out, looks around, shakes his head, and gets back in the car, and then does the same thing. It said he did the same thing in the middle of a field somewhere else and on the middle of a suspension bridge.
Yeah.
Like the movie seriously missed some comedy in just that piece alone.
And it wouldn't have even had to be a very long scene. It could have just been like really short transition clips. And it would have been
like a montage of him losing his crap.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because it's so funny, the things that he does.
Yeah, well, because they swore when they took him in that they'd stamp out that dangerous nonsense. He won't have one in the house. That's what he said.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the takeaway that they treat him like an animal for me was when they finally got to the little crappy shack on the rock. And of course, there was only one bedroom, so the parents took that. And then she takes the best blankets and makes a bed on the couch for Dudley. And then it said that Harry got to pick the softest piece of floor and lay down under the thinnest, raggediest blanket that was left over for him. And I was just like, ugh. They treat him worse than an animal, dude. People treat their animals better than that.
I do. I'm like, I do.
You're a little bit on the higher end of the spectrum. But yes, people treat their animals better than that.
I mean, he sleeps in a cupboard.
Well, until they moved him into the smallest bedroom.
Well, yes, because who was the letter addressed to, or how was the letter addressed?
Exactly, because the letter was addressed to Mr. H. Potter, number 4 Privet Drive, the cupboard under the stairs. Little Whinging, Surrey.
Yeah.
And then when it came the next day, after the other thing too was it said Uncle Vernon did something he had never done before. He visited Harry in his cupboard.
Yeah.
And so he comes in there and Harry's like, who's the letter from? And he's like, don't ask questions. You're moving into Dudley's bedroom. And he's like, why? Don't ask questions. Just get your things and go now.
It literally only took him one trip. He didn't have anything.
No, nothing.
No possession.
And so, nope. And so he goes upstairs and he's like, I'd much rather be in my cupboard with the letter than up here without it. But then when the next letter comes, it's addressed to Mr. H. Potter, number 4 Privet Drive, the smallest
bedroom. Yeah. And then, of course, Aunt Petunia is like, how do they know?
Oh, no. The fact that they started talking about the fact that they might be being watched.
Yeah.
And that's why Uncle Vernon lost his crap. That's why he was driving around
spied on. Yep. With all the owls that kept coming to the house, like, yeah.
And then once again, they know that magic exists. How do you think you're going to outrun it? How do you not think that there know stuff by magic? Like, you two actually know that magic exists. The children don't know. You know.
They don't know the extent nor how it's used or like anything. They don't, because they don't want to, right? So like they don't know anything about how it works.
They thought they could get in the car and shake off wizards.
Bless.
Sorry, that was hilarious to me because I'm like, they're so dumb because they're the ones that actually know what's happening, and they're so sad. It is. Harry's confused as language. Sorry, Harry's confused as
only Muggles guy.
No idea what's happening. But they know.
Yeah.
And they're acting like they have no idea. Like,
I mean, but yeah, they want to try so hard to stamp it out. They want to make sure that it can never go further than it's already gone, but they can't fight it, you know? They don't realize that they can't fight it. I want to go back.
Hilarious, though.
It is. It is sad. It is very sad. I want to go back to Dudley and Harry's schools. Dudley gets this amazing uniform. This is another way that we see how Harry's treated in the household.
Is it amazing?
Well, supposedly, according to everybody else, right?
I mean, the colors
It's
are a
this,
bit clownish, and he's already a fat, fat, very fat person.
yes, but it's like what, maroon, right?
Like the pants are orange,
His knickerbockers, yeah,
orange knickerbockers, and then maroon coattails. So I assume that's like a blazer with coattails, and it's
yep,
maroon to go with these
yep,
orange pants and the
yep,
flat straw hat called a boater. And all I could think, and they're carrying this stick.
yep.
Like, who decided orange and maroon go together?
I don't know, somebody a long ass time ago, because his dad went to that school, right? And I don't think the uniform had changed because they didn't say anything about it.
No, he said he was very proud of his son when
Oh
he saw him in
yeah.
his clown suit.
Aunt Petunia was about ready to cry. Well, she was crying, right? She was so happy.
When doesn't she? She
Yes, but
cries
she
every
was.
time her little Diddykins does something amazing.
Yes. And then Harry, he's going to public school, and he wears
All gray.
yes, and he wears Dudley's hand-me-downs, right? Harry Potter is this tiny little boy because he lives in a cupboard. He is very thin. He doesn't eat a lot. He's malnourished because everybody else gets all the food. And he has to wear Dudley's hand-me-downs that Aunt Petunia dyes gray in a pot in the kitchen for him.
And it smells rancid.
It smells awful. It smells awful. Yep. Everybody walks into the kitchen and they're like, what does that smell? Right? And it's like, oh, it's Harry's new uniform for next year. That's so sad. I mean, he said that he's going to look like he's wearing bits of old elephant skin, right?
I mean, like it's going to be hanging off him because Dudley's 4 sizes bigger than he is. Oh my God. Poor kid.
Right? And he doesn't complain.
Old shirts and be fine.
But he doesn't complain. He doesn't want to stir the pot. He doesn't want to say anything. He doesn't want to bother anyone. So he's just like, man, I'm going to look insane, but whatever.
At least Dudley and his friends won't be there beating me up.
Exactly. He's just always looking at like the best possible side of the outcome of each scenario. So sad.
Also talk about book versus movie.
Yeah.
As he's counting down to his birthday, he's number one, he's looking at Dudley's illuminated watch in the book. In the movie, he has his own watch and he's watching the time. And also in the movie, poor little sad Harry is drawing himself a birthday cake in the dust on the floor.
Yeah.
And then he blows it like he's blowing out the candles and all the dust.
Yeah. Yep.
Just to make it sadder.
It does. It does. You see that he doesn't have a real cake. He's got a dirt cake. Yeah.
All right, what's your takeaway from this chapter?
Okay. You already mentioned it. The lengths that people go to stay in denial. That was mine. Like, it was just because, again, it really shows you in the real world as well the lengths that people go to be in denial, to stay in denial, to stay where they are. Uncle Vernon is
crazy.
Literally. And he's like, no, this can't possibly exist. We're gonna run away from them. Like, he can't be part of that world. That world just doesn't exist. We don't want it in the house. We don't want anything to do with it. And he drives to the middle of nowhere, to several middle of nowheres.
All of the middle of nowhere.
All of the middle of nowhere. And he has rations for everyone, right? Because they're going to go to the middle of nowhere where there's no food, there's no nothing, there's no this and that. He's got a special secret package and some rations for everyone. What are these rations, Christina?
This fool bought each person a bag of chips and a banana. Now, you've been driving all day, and it literally says this was the worst day of Dudley's life because he had missed 5 programs he wanted to watch, and he'd never gone so long without killing an alien on his computer. And your child is fat. Your child eats a lot. How did you think after driving all day long that you were going to feed that child a bag of chips and a banana?
Yeah.
Now, Harry was probably all right because they don't feed him that much anyway. But really, and I don't even like Dudley.
Oh, I can guarantee you that Aunt Petunia had to have given him like at least half of hers.
That's probably true too. Because she's thin too. She eats kind of bird-like. So yeah, she probably gave him half of hers too.
Yeah. I think so.
Oh, probably gave him the chips and just ate the banana.
And didn't they try to use the chip bags as like kindling for the fire?
Kindling, yeah, and it didn't. Yeah, it just fizzled out. So my takeaway is a quote, one that you've actually already played around with quite a bit, and it is Uncle Vernon saying, "I'm not having one in the house, Petunia. Didn't we swear when we took him in we'd stamp out that dangerous nonsense?"
That dangerous nonsense.
Oh, foreshadowing of all the things that are to come.
I know.
And so that was my quote takeaway from this chapter. Like, oh, is that what you thought? Oh,
yeah, right.
It's going to be a fun ride for you, buddy.
It's coming. All that dangerous nonsense. It's coming.
Oh boy, there ain't no stamping it out, kid.
I love it.
Trust. Not to mention the fact that they don't even know he's the boy who lived.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, nobody technically knows, really.
I mean, but I'm just saying, they think they're going to stamp it out, but he's the boy who lived.
Right. Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, literally, the first chapter is called The Boy Who Lived. So.
Again, foreshadowing. We didn't do it.
She who must not be named.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not afraid of the name.
Yeah, but she still is not to be named for other reasons.
Oh, okay.
All right. You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Make magic, baby.